Hey YouTube, Diesel Dan Peters here. So I kind of got sidetracked because I didn't want to record all the brake line stuff, and then I already started putting a bunch of stuff on. Got the shocks back together, drilled out the holes on both sides for the brake lines, all new brake lines in the back, including the one with this bracket, and that's all mounted, ready to go. Those are the old ones. Although one of these was new this year, but you know, away she goes. So I'll put you all right there. Hopefully you can at least kind of see it. Again, a lot of this is all new to me. I've never done anything like this. But we're gonna put it on. Let me just make sure there's no washers that are supposed to go with that. I don't think there are. I don't think so. Oh, bloody hell. I wonder what this was for. Never a good sign, right, Yusuf? They definitely included plenty of washers and everything else. Nice. That should be plenty. Put a little bit of Loctite too. Again, I painted all of this with VHT paint. Looking pretty nice so far, YouTube. What do you all think? Tell you what, it looks better than it did for sure. It's definitely a start. So now I need the washes. And the bolts. Might actually, if you all bear with me for just a second. I want to find a lock washer if I have it. Only because I've had bad luck with this in the past, but I might not have one. If anything, I'll make it work. Apparently I have no lock washers that fit this. Interesting. Alright, you know, YouTube, I might try to find one. So it might be a brief intermission. But just so you can all kind of see. Oh, I guess I can't. I'll put this over here. There we go. Well, we're at least partially ready, YouTube. Hold on a second. Alright, YouTube, so get you all up front here. So, first thing is first, we're going to clean up. Oh, crap. I don't have any paper towels in here, do I? Oh, I found one. This isn't too bad. Surprisingly, in a good way, the axle itself is still in extremely good condition. So we're going to reuse that. Again, we already replaced the bearings though, so those are not new. I mean, they are new. Not new. Imagine go through all this work, not replace the bearings. And we're going to slide it right in gently. We just got to find the groove. Go over here. There we go. And before I continue, I'm gonna stop the video. Actually, I'll keep the video rolling. I'm just gonna go under because I know that 2 gears had come out. And I need to make sure that we can get those gears back in with the drive shaft in. So I'm gonna have to get the car out of neutral. Looks like what we're gonna have to do is leave off with the way it is right now, because I'm gonna have to get pretty messy to finish the rest of this. It's gonna require me putting the rest of the axle back together, and if anything, we can definitely do the other side, get that backing plate on. You know, we got most of the messy work done for now. Let's take a look. Yeah, we got our bolts ready. Yeah, we might as well roll this out of the way. Clean up these bolts a little. It's going pretty overall smooth so far. The final last few steps. And then the only other thing I really got to do, because I already did everything under the hood, is the parking brake modification. Which shouldn't be too bad. I already routed, as you can kind of see in the background, I already routed the parking brake cables. So we are getting there for sure. We got our bolts ready to go. Bolts, nuts. Alright. Well, I guess I'll put you all a little bit further back like that so you can all see. This goes on just like so. Again, we're not building a SEMA build here, but we do want it to look nice as possible at least. So we're gonna need this, a little bit of this, and a little bit of that. Alright, I'm gonna grab some of these tools, bring some of this over. And we're also gonna grab the Loctite, because we're Loctiting all of those bolts. And the only other thing we should need is the backing plate, but we'll grab that in a minute. We actually don't need that at the exact second. Loctite. Go to town with that. Again, I'm not looking for these bolts to come loose on me. We already have our nice new seals in place. Nice. There's always going to be a little bit of dirt that gets in there, YouTube. Nothing you can really do about that. There's rust everywhere in this world. There's rust everywhere in this world. I'll show you all. See, it's very simple. I think the hardest part about all of this is if you're tired, because you do need a little bit of strength to tighten some of these bolts. So let's go like this. Forget what I determined the size of these bolts to be. I think they're 14-ish. Leave it sort of loose. Come on. There we go. Get her nice and tight, because again, you don't want these coming loose at all. That would make for a really bad day. Alright. Ooh, almost there. We'll go back over all of them. This one's the harder one to get to. Because of how tight it is in here. I wonder if I can... No. Nope. How can I get in there? There's got to be a way. This wall is a way. Got it on the other side. It was very, very tight as well. No. boy. Now I got it stuck in there. No problem. There we go. Whew. That didn't work today, YouTube. I put in work every day, I guess. At least this is the fun stuff to do. Yeah, I think these are all pretty tight. Let's get that back panel on. Oh, the dust shield. And I think we're gonna call it there, possibly. Well, we'll see, I guess. So again, that's just 3 bolts. Make sure. Got tools everywhere, YouTube. So, alright, so basically, get some Loctite. Nice. We're all set on the Loctite for now. That partially on. And we got this one. Nice. That's it. A little bit of paint flaked, it's alright. The main part is that this is as protected as we can get it. And it also stays in the garage, but you know, bare metal would have just straight up rusted, so this looks pretty good. Nice. All together. There's nothing really else left to do except let's grab the other axle. I'll just keep this rolling. I'm just gonna kind of get her in there a little bit. But again, we're gonna have to wait to put the rest of this all back together. There we go. Nice. And like I said, we're gonna have to wait to put the rest of this back together, at least until I get the middle of that axle all together. We're still waiting on the new diff cover and stuff like that. But we're getting there, YouTube. It's looking pretty pretty. It's gonna be a pretty little build over here. It's gonna look nice though. I'm excited. Hope you're excited for this build too. Stay tuned, YouTube. Diesel Van Peter signing out for now. Oh boy, YouTube. What do we get ourselves into? I'd get up again, but my legs are killing me, so I guess we're gonna start the video right here. So, this took a lot longer than it should have. Partially my fault. I did not realize certain things were still loose. I had tightened the brake lines up above with a 10 mil. Well, if you get this kit, use a 3/8 because I didn't realize I wasn't actually tightening it. If anything else, I could have been stripping it, but it went on perfect, and once I tightened it, everything was fine. I only found that out once I went to bleed the brake lines, and it took me about 2 hours to fully bleed the brake lines, and I was like, all right, something's up. Kept bleeding them, and I finally got them bled-ish. But sure enough, there was a nice big puddle under here. And every time I stomped on the brake pedal, I was like, that doesn't sound right. So yeah, I ended up finding out that the brake lines were not tight on top of the diff. But it's all right. We fixed all that. That's all good to go. So everything is mounted up. The brakes are done. They are officially done. And I'll tell you what, I can already tell this is going to be a big improvement over what I had. Super excited for this entire setup. Definitely been waiting a long time to install it. Some things to note: you do have to drill out the bracket down there. I hope you can all see it. In order to have the brake hose reach over to the caliper. Let's see what else. I recommend painting this back brake disc protector. Let's see what else. I'm trying to give you all like a little glimpse over of what I definitely recommend in this process. Definitely clean up all the parts when they're all apart. I still have the rear end apart at the current moment, which I don't know if any of you will be able to see that, but yeah, it's all apart still. That was not fun. That was a whole separate process that if I recorded it, it would have been like 3 or 4 days of me recording just different little clips of it. But yeah, all this is together. I do recommend also, for the parking brake specifically, cut the rod that they give you. I think it'd probably be about an inch. Yeah, about an inch-ish. You're going to want to cut off. That way, when you go to actually put everything on, I'm not going to get completely under the car, but just picture it like this, right? You have your 2 cables going in, and you had already cut off the middle connector, which if you're doing this kit, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The middle connector that goes and connects / bolts into the rod that they give you. Like I said, if you cut it, everything will go on way easier than the one they just initially give you. And you can see in here, look at that, works perfect. This is another thing, I don't think I recorded this either, but you have to cut that top tab and weld onto the second gear of this parking brake. Which was also pretty easy. Like I said, it's just very time consuming. If this is your first time doing something like this, as it was for me, it will take you a minute. That's also because I did some other little details, like I painted the brake discs white just so that they don't rust in the middle. There's nothing worse than when they rust and they just look not good, like in the front over here. Which I might do the same thing. I might end up painting all that. Yeah, all the brake lines are together. This is already fully bled. Topped it off. Have the proportioning valve right in the middle as they recommend. But if it's too much, so you can see how far this goes out. So the middle is a few turns in, which should be right about there. Yeah, this thing is coming together, YouTube. It's definitely coming together. But like I said, I'm still waiting on that CNC aluminum billet rear diff cover, What else? Sorry if I sound out of breath. I just don't like being under a car that's on jack stands, because I feel like any wrong movement and this whole car could actually come down on me. I get very nervous when I'm under a car now. Been cleaning up in here a little bit too. That's beside the point. Another thing, before you put the parking brake cable on, make sure that you have this bracket ready to go. You have to slip it over the entire line, and it'll end up mounting right there where the sway bar stabilizer goes on. Again, the stabilizer, sway bar is off right now. Sorry, mixing up the American terms and the German terms. In like for my Mercedes, they called it a stabilizer bar. So certain stuff is a little bit different. But either way, just make sure that's all lined up. And again, it's not on because the diff cover is off. And we still have to clean up all that, which I might record because that shouldn't take too long. Trying to see what else. I definitely hit a few road bumps with this, but we got to the finish line. You can kind of see, so it had no parking brake that worked. Those were the seals. We replaced all those, and the bearings all replaced. What else did we replace? Really hoping I don't gotta replace any of that for a while, because that was about a week or two of my life right there. You can see the old brake lines, well, old new brake lines. All this was older. I mean, you can just see that was pretty bad. If you're doing any sort of brake job on an older vehicle and you're at the point where you're what do you call it, you're doing any sort of brake work for that matter, just go ahead and replace the brake hoses, because as you can tell with this one, it probably wouldn't have lasted too much longer. Those were the brake drums, so those are all, don't have to use those anymore, but I'm gonna save them because you never know, maybe one day if I ever do go to sell this, someone wants all the original parts with it as well. Well, I'll have them. I don't think anyone would want to go back to drums, but you never know. Some people are like that. They prefer to do everything original, such as this master cylinder, which is a factory Ford master cylinder. Have the original diff cover in here in the bag. So, yeah. Well, stay tuned, YouTube. Diesel Dan Peters, signing out for now.